Welcome to Nursiscope Incorporated, where nursing meets innovation. Welcome to Nursiscope Incorporated, where nursing meets innovation. Welcome to Nursiscope Incorporated, where nursing meets innovation. Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are welcome to Nursiscope Incorporated webinar. Nursiscope is that global consulting firm passionate about impacting organizations, healthcare professionals, nurses through research, consulting, and a lot of other opportunities. And today we are bringing to you one of those career opportunities at our organization. You are welcome. It's a joy to see nurses, healthcare professionals, and every person joining us from different corners of the world, whether it's early in the morning, late at night, or right in the middle of your busy day. Your presence here shows your commitment to growth, and we truly appreciate you. You are wonderfully welcome. By way of introduction, can you just drop in the chat box where you are joining us from, your name, and where you are joining us from. Thank you very much. You're welcome, everyone. As I see your name on the screen, I'm going to be giving a shout out. Awesome. Good afternoon, Israel. You're welcome. Adetunbi Deborah, you're welcome. Let's know where you are connecting from. Niniola Jiboye, glad to see you connect. You're welcome. Thank you. Mercy Tolulope, you're welcome. You're welcome to Nursiscope 2.0 webinar. We had 1.0 and it was really beautiful. It was a great experience, and we trust that this is not going to be an exception. There's a lot of things you are going to be gaining. Zina, you're welcome. You are really welcome. We are so glad to have you join us. Yeah, Oyinda Mola, good afternoon. You're welcome. Join us from Nigeria. You're powerfully welcome. Deborah, you're welcome. Connecting from the UK. Glad to have you on board. Okay, Blessing from Edo State. my pocket nurse. That's beautiful. Glad to have you join us today. Yes, we are having others join. Samuel Adeleke connecting from Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for all you do. Yeah, it's if you see those beautiful graphics flying all around social media, Samuel is the brain behind those graphics. Thank you so much. Niniola is joining us from Lautech. I'm a proud alumnus, and two of our speakers to alumni of Lautech. You are going to be hearing a lot from them, so it's like an homecoming, a reunion kind of. Right. Yes. All right. We are starting shortly. As we await other people to join us. Our speakers are set, and we know you are too. And without wasting time, we are diving deep into the conversations. Are there people joining us for the very first time? You are welcome to Nursiscope. We are passionate about connection, inspiration, equipping nurses, healthcare professionals, organizations to reach new heights in their careers and their projects. And today's session reflects exactly that. The purpose of this webinar is simple yet powerful. We want to inspire you, we want to equip you with strategies to pursue postgraduate and postdoctoral opportunities across the globe. We will be hearing from remarkable nurses who have walked these paths, they have faced challenges, surmounted them, and they will be sharing how you can do the same. Okay, so I'm going to be introducing our speakers now. I'm starting with Esther Ilesanmi-Ajisafe. Thank you so much, Esther, for connecting with us today. So Esther is a dedicated nurse. She's working at the intersection of global health and clinical research. She's pursuing a master's degree in global health at the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, United Kingdom, and she contributes to clinical trials within the NHS. She serves as a grant acquisition officer at the INR. Yes, I've known her for a while serving at INR, and she has supported impactful nursing research. She was formerly with the International Organization for Migration, and she promoted safe migration and disease prevention in Nigeria. And she's also a principal investigator and an early career grant awardee of RSTMH and NIHR. She's leading research across 5 Nigerian states, and Esther is committed to advancing equitable care and inspiring global opportunities for nurses. Esther, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
out of your very busy schedule. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's actually a great pleasure to be here this afternoon, morning, evening, depending on where you're joining from. Thank
Uh,
you for having me. Yeah.
okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Esther. So let's move to Rafiat. I'll be introducing her. Thank you so much, Rafiat Akinokun, for doing this with us today. Okay. Okay, Rafiat Akinokun is a public health research nurse currently based at the University of Oxford. She is a recipient of 2 prestigious scholarships, the Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship and the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, through which she earned a double master's in public health and health systems governance, graduating with distinction and receiving an award for her thesis on health worker migration in sub-Saharan Africa. Rafiat is passionate about strengthening health systems through research with a focus on workforce development, global health governance, and decolonizing health research. Just published. What does that actually mean? You will hear more from her as we move on in the session. Just published in peer review journals, presented internationally, and remains committed to advancing evidence that informs equitable health policies in low and middle income countries. Esther, Rafiat, you are wonderfully welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akingbade. It's such a very big pleasure to be here.
And I look forward to a very impactful session. I also met Esther, who is a very excellent nurse as well. And together, I really do hope that we provide a whole lot of information, share from our experiences, and then we are also able to talk about real life challenges that we have faced over the time being. It's a pleasure again to be here, and I look forward to an impactful session
Thank you so
today.
much, Rafiat. Thank you. So let's also welcome our third speaker, Nurse Mercy Ogunwale. Thank you so much, Mercy, for doing this with us. I know it's early morning, 8 a.m. over there in the US. We do not take this for granted. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Mercy Ogunwale is a dual licensed nurse in Nigeria and the United States, and a proud graduate of Babcock University, Nigeria, with clinical experience spanning antenatal, labor, and postpartum care. She specializes in maternal and child health. She's passionate about writing and has published her research findings in peer-reviewed journals. During her National Youth Service Corps here in Nigeria, she applied to and received several PhD offers, ultimately accepting one from the University of Pittsburgh, where she's now in her second year. In her first year, she worked as a research assistant on maternal health projects, and currently she's conducting a research on dysphoric milk ejection reflex to improve awareness, diagnosis, and intervention strategies. Beautiful, beautiful. Mercy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I hope we have a very inspiring session today. And also to my co-speakers, hi Rafiat and Esther. This is the first time I'll be meeting you, and I also hope to learn from you too as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy, for that. So my first question is we are going right away into the discussion. Again, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, as we will be diving into the discussion. And if you have things, maybe questions, concerns, clarifications, feel free to use the chat box, either on Facebook or on Instagram, on YouTube channel. We will be reading your questions, projecting it, and it's going to be a very beautiful session. And we also have an hashtag, my Nursiscope takeaway. My Nursiscope takeaway. You'll find the hashtag too on your chat box. You can use that to share your experience about the webinar. So my first question goes to Rafiat. What inspired you to pursue a postgraduate study abroad? Why the UK? Why not Nigeria? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akingbade. I think that's a very deep question. For me, there are different um, perspectives towards this. Personally, I do have, right from my undergraduate degree, I've always wanted to pursue a postgraduate education in public health. However, my personal decision to come to the UK or somewhere else abroad is for me to be able to see how other people think. I have earned an education in Nigeria. I have an idea of how the educational system works in Nigeria, but I also need to know exactly how it is done in other places, more advanced and more developed when it comes to resources, and experience and exposure. So I think that's first. Secondly, this is also coming from a personal decision. When I started applying for my postgraduate education, I was already married. And at the time, my spouse was already in Europe. So I think that at that time, the best decision for me would also have to be in Europe, because of course, the question could also be, why the UK and not why US or Canada or stuff like that, which is also very, very important. So I chose the UK, and I chose the UK for a number of reasons. UK because of a personal family decision as well, which is a wholesome consideration. So yes, in my own personal opinion, I actually wanted an international exposure. I want to see how people think. I want to see how other systems work, and I want to see how it compares with what I am already used to in Nigeria, and then combining that with a family.
Okay. I think your network is a bit dragging. We cannot hear you very well at the moment. But while you fix that, let me move to the next question, which will be going to Mercy. How did you first discover the postgraduate opportunity where you are currently? How did you discover it? Why PhD? You are someone who went from RN. Why not MSc? Why not MPH? Why straight to PhD? How did you discover this opportunity?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. And the first response will be that the first place I discovered this opportunity is Google. As simple as that can sound, is actually Google. And right from my undergrad days, I've learned that using Google can be very, very important. As very little as it sounds, it's a very powerful tool. So I had a few friends who migrated to the United States about 2 years before I came. And in my conversations with them, I would ask them that, okay, so did you have a master's degree? And some of them would say, oh, I have a master's degree. However, I did not even submit that as part of my application. So I asked that, okay, so that means you moved from bachelor's to PhD directly. And they're like, yeah, people do that a lot here. And the schools accept that. And that really raised my curiosity that, okay, so that makes me also a candidate, right? Because I don't have a master's degree. I just moved directly a few years after my bachelor's to the United States. So I got the inspiration from my friends. Then afterwards, I went to Google to research. Then I researched and I saw that there are so many schools that accept that. However, the schools that don't accept direct pathway from bachelor's to PhD, they are lesser than the ones that expect you to have a master's degree, either in any health related field. I had too many offers that I could not put in my application for because I don't have a master's degree. So not having a master's degree actually narrowed my options to some specific schools. So there is also a website or a unified system of application in the United States for those pursuing nursing programs, just the same way they have it with public health. I know public health has something they call SOFAS.
Yeah.
While for nursing, they have what they call nursing CAS. So that really made my search very easy because almost all the schools, about 80% of the schools that offer graduate programs in the United States, you have to apply through that platform. So there are lots of schools there, although the schools might not give you in-depth information about everything you need to know about the school. So sometimes I just used that, I just needed the names of the school to then go to Google and search for directly on the website of the school to see that. So I saw a lot and I saw schools that would say, yeah, you can come in with just your bachelor's degree. You don't need a master's degree. Provided that you are really interested in research, then we are going to train you and you'll be skillful. So yeah.
Awesome. Great experience. Thanks so much for sharing, Mercy.
You're welcome.
In Nigeria, we usually say Google is your friend. Right. And your experience is actually similar to mine. I really value friendships. I value relationships. And my current postdoctoral opportunity. I'm funded by Abata Innovates in Canada, and it's actually through a friend, Dr. Yetunde Tola, who shared this opportunity with me. I was at Hong Kong doing my PhD, towards like 6 months to completing my PhD, and she shared the opportunity with me, and I applied, and here I am today. And it's also funny that my PhD opportunity at the Nursiscope School of Nursing, Chinese University of Hong Kong, this same friend shared this opportunity with me. Thank you so much, Dr. Yetunde Tola, for always sharing. And I tell you, someone said your network is your net worth if you know how to use it appropriately. So I encourage you to have that support as you try to move. My next question goes to Esther. I've studied you over time, and I've been inspired by what you have achieved. And let me ask you this question. How do you think an aspiring postgraduate student to prepare? What are the things that you did while applying, while preparing, that made your CV stand out and to become an awardee of this opportunity that you have currently? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. And thank you to other speakers. You've said a lot within a short period of time. I'm also learning as well. So going back to the question, I think the first thing first is clarity. At the early stage of my nursing program at Lautech, I knew what I wanted. Maybe not 100%. And the first thing is I knew I wanted the preventative aspect of nursing. No, we have curative aspect, we have preventative aspect of nursing. And as at 200 level, I already started taking courses because I didn't really know where I want to go into. Even before I decided that, okay, I wanted to go into preventative aspects.
200 level. Wow.
Yeah, actually. At 200 level, I'd already started doing courses on Coursera, John Hopkins websites, stuff like that, because I knew I wanted more with nursing, but I didn't really know where I want to specialize. So the first thing is to seek knowledge. And that was what I did at the early stage. Even if you're in 500 level now or you're out of school, you're not late. There's always like a starting point to everything. But I think the first thing first is clarity. If you're not sure of what you want to do at the moment, take courses, wide courses, see the ones that interest you, probe further, like learn further about that particular topic. And for me back then was public health, and I knew I wanted more. So I think this zeal to want more, to do more is also very important. It's not just about, but even if you're at the bedside, you still want to do more, you understand, advocate for things and all. And after that, after seeking knowledge, I had to put my knowledge into actions. Because when you want to apply for postgraduate opportunities or any other opportunities, you have to be able to show evidence of the things that you've done. This will separate you or set you aside to be competitive. You understand? They know that you've already handled projects or you've done remarkable things in the past, and they'll be willing to invest in you because they know you will maximize their investment or whatsoever you're being given. So after clarity, you seek knowledge. After knowledge, then you put things into action. So what I did back then was to initiate projects, to get involved in projects. You don't have to have an organization for you to be able to do projects. I think that's another thing we have to emphasize on. You don't have to have your own NGO before you do projects. And at the point I was within that process, do I have to have my own NGO? Or I was like, I just want to gain valuable skills and contribute to the community. So now that you already know what you want to do, you've gained knowledge, the next thing is to put back into the community, volunteer with organizations that are actually doing things that you're interested in. Don't just volunteer for every organization. I knew I wanted public health, so I volunteered back then in school with organizations working on hepatitis prevention. I volunteer for those working on prevention of suicides among young people. I volunteer for those working on health-related stuff at the community level. And aside this, another thing I actually said, and you already said it, Dr. Diane Akingbade, is networking. I was able to network effectively. Like I have high skilled and people that are driven with ambitions in my cycle. So even when I'm even like being low, I don't want to do much. When I see what my friends are doing, I get inspired positively. I don't get jealous. I get inspired. And that really helps me a lot. I have friends like Adebisi, I have Gabriel, a whole lot of them that the guys will pull me along. Esther, let's go and do this project. Let's go to this community. And when I had project, because I did the project on the Flow project, I think Rafiat was part of it. Rafiat is my classmate, and she has like we've known each other for a long time. I'm happy that we are sharing the same platform really. And when I started that project, I was making reusable pad from locally available materials as an undergraduate. I just look at for like-minded students like myself, the likes of Rhoda and some other classmates. We came together and we were able to, learn this online. And we went to rural communities in Osun State and we were able to do something. That is another thing, community engagement. And aside this, I've said clarity, knowledge, network, community engagement. Then I'm going to say something again. When you know where you're going, you know the appropriate skills to develop. And one for me was research. And research was also very easy for me because I have friends that are into research. So it still boils down to network as well. So I was able to work on my research skills, and it's still very instrumental up to now. The RSTMH award was on research, and I was able to, leverage on my experience with INR and also the mentorship of Dr. Akingbade. Yeah, so Dr. Akingbade was actually there for me because he's one of my supervisors for that RSTMH. So apart from the fact that you have knowledge, you have network, you have skills, you're developing skills, keep developing. Mentorship also is very important, and that is why we have Nursiscope. I think they provide the services. So if you're here and you think you want to do more, I think you have to join Nursiscope because you're going to learn a whole lot of things from there. And apart from research, my public health aspect, I have public health mentors as well. So depending on what you want, I have research mentor, the likes of Dr. Akingbade, then I have public health mentors because I knew I wanted public health as well. So those are the things that really worked for me. And as you do all this, try as much as possible to document your experiences, what you've done. It's not just about doing as well. You're not putting it online for likes, so I want the engagement. Sometimes I put things online just to keep it there because when I need it, I can come back and copy the link. So those are the things that really set me aside for opportunities during and after school.
Wow, my jota is full. Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing these wonderful tips. I wish I knew these things you are sharing when I was in 200 level, because you said you already started this journey since 200 level. Some of us started late, actually, because I remember that time when I wanted to get the scholarship Rafiat got, Commonwealth. I didn't know all the things you guys knew in your sets. I'd graduated, I'd done NYSC, and then I was doing my master's at the University of Ibadan. And I tried to apply, and then I went from Gumosho, where I was working, then to Abuja for the interview, and they asked me, what are the community projects you have done? None. What are the competitions you have? None. What are the conferences you have presented? None. And
I understand.
I was so bold. I wore my suits. I was just, okay, I'm a registered nurse, midwife, public health nurse. And I just looking at me now, what exactly does that mean? We want more than your certificate. So thank you so much for sharing that. And also the place of online presence. I know some nurses are shy. They are a bit conservative. I am too. I'm very conservative. But then this is just about your academic profile. You need to put yourself out there. People want to see what you have done, what you are doing, and that's really insightful. Let me move to Rafiat. Rafiat, you want to scholarships I would have loved to have, but I did not get. So tell us, how did you do this? How were you able to win these two prestigious scholarships? What did you do different from what other people do? Do you think it's easy to win these scholarship opportunities? And do you think any nurse out there can win these opportunities? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akingbade. I hope I'm audible this time.
Yes, it's clearer now. Thank you.
Okay. I have to apologize for the other time. My network wasn't stable. So, yes, I did it. And I feel like I'm starting from your last question. I did it as a nurse. I applied the same year I completed my NYSC. So if I could do it, I think that every other nurse out there could as well. So I'm going to share my tips on what I did, how I was able to get this, and every other thing attached to it. So first of all, I got the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, but what I don't say is it wasn't the first time I applied. It was my second time applying. I think I also have this conversation. I had this conversation with Esther because we also at some point we're talking about the scholarship, which also boils down to the fact that it is very, very essential to have people who have the same values, who have the same aspirations, similar aspirations as you, because when you do these things and you're able to talk through, it helps. So how did I prepare for this scholarship? I think that my preparation didn't start the same year I applied. I started preparing for the scholarship cycle a year before. So that means that I was already watching YouTube videos of every YouTube video I could get on those two scholarships. Those are the two scholarships that I actually applied for, and those are the two scholarships I got both.
Wow.
I started watching YouTube videos a year before. I made sure that I had prepared every document that I would need. So the documents I felt like I would need, of course, starting from the international passport, your passport, your up-to-date transcript, your certificates, and what else do you need to have in terms of experience, in terms of exposure. So before I applied, I had already had experience in research, in publications. Thanks to you, thanks to Dr. Akingbade, we had a whole lot of collaboration. Someone is saying they can't hear anything. I hope.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear. I'm hearing you very clearly.
Okay. So I actually had some publications before. I also before then, because I said I started a year earlier, I was already more into mentorship. I was talking to a lot of people who had gotten previous scholarships. What did you do? What did you do differently? What were the things that you feel like I should do? At the time, I had already also won a grant, which was quite some money. I had also implemented personal projects in Nigeria in the realm of HIV and AIDS. I also had experiences in community engagement. So before the year I started applying, I had already marked up my plans. This is what I want to do. So I had what should I say? I had a list of what I need to tick, because I was already watching videos of people. I was already talking to people who had won those scholarships before. So I started creating a list. And in that list, I started ticking off what exactly I need to match up to be able to apply for those scholarships. So it is very, very, I mean, when people say, oh, you want 2 scholarships, I'm like, well, I did, but this was as a result of intentionality. So I was very, very intentional about everything I was doing. And secondly was the aspect of documentation. So a lot of time when people talk about LinkedIn and being shy, I am extremely introverted. I hardly post about myself, even on WhatsApp. But one thing is, whatever you do, please try to document. I got the Erasmus scholarship. I was the only Nigerian that got that scholarship. But I felt like in my application, what really helped me was everything that I said I had done was backed up, because that application had a space for extra information. So all of my international engagements, all the videos I had on international engagements, I compiled it. I had a YouTube, I created a personal YouTube space for all of those YouTube videos, and I attached the links to my application. All the grants that I had gotten before then, I compiled all the notifications and how competitive those grants were. I attached the link to it. I had a Google Drive for all of my certifications, all the short courses that I had done, all the online courses and everything. I created a Google Drive that had all those certifications, and I attached the link to that application. So it is different. So you see the level of intentionality that comes into this application, rather than just saying that, oh, this particular scholarship is out, I want to apply for it. Because at this stage, like, we all know how competitive scholarships could be. So you have to go extra. You have to be intentional about, okay, what do I want to do? I need to get this, even though thousands of people could apply, but not thousands of people could be as intentional as you want to be. So if you want to, I feel like my own personal mantra is, whatever you want to do it well. Like, put in your effort, put in your energy, start thinking of what can I add to my current experience to actually gain this. And I think that that's what actually stood out for me. So when I was applying, at the time those applications were out, I already knew what I was doing. And the funniest thing is, when I actually got this, because I'm currently based in Oxford, and I have been able to see Nigerians who get into Oxford on full ride scholarship. I've been able to talk to them, to have conversations with them. How did you do it? And one of the things that I actually did discover is that, one, they enjoy mentorship. They probably have someone they talk to, someone who reviews their application, someone who tells them this is what you have to do. And two, they are extremely intentional. I had one person who came to Oxford with 2 scholarships. The person won Chevening Scholarship and won the Oxford Africa Scholarship, which is like the AFOC scholarship for Oxford. And it is not to my surprise that this person actually had all the scholarship essays written before the scholarship was out.
Wow.
So that means that this is someone who had already completed the application, whose application had already been reviewed over and over again by different people, whose scholarship had already been outstanding even before the application came out. So this is the level of intentionality that people actually put in to their efforts, to whatever they do. So I think that when it comes to applying for international opportunities, it is always very good to leverage on mentorship, know what you are doing, prepare well ahead, because when you prepare well ahead, scholarships could be very intense. I could remember that even with everything, I still felt pressured when I was preparing for those scholarships. Dr. Akingbade knows, because he wrote all of my recommendation letters, and thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So I was still pressured even with that. So it is always good to prepare ahead. Know what you want to do. Speak to people. LinkedIn is a tool. Is a tool for me, because there are some things that I actually did on LinkedIn, and I was able to generate a link for them as well, which I attached to my application. And I also feel like when people post opportunities on LinkedIn, it is not a time to start feeling bad or to start getting jealous. Look at those opportunities. Can I qualify for it? What has this person done to actually win this particular opportunity? Look at their profile. Look at what they are doing. That it is from there that you get to understand how things work. I still do that a lot. I think everybody does that. I mean, everybody that I've met who are doing exceptionally well in their career, they do that a lot. Whatever opportunity they want to do, they look at that opportunity on Google. They see who currently has this opportunity. They look at the name, they search the name on LinkedIn. So you'll be able to know exactly what qualifications this person has, what have they done beyond that. So I feel like getting these opportunities require, preparation. You have to be intentional. Be very good with mentorship. Esther really talked about mentorship earlier, and also pray as well. I think the majority of these things also comes with prayers and grace and everything. So I think that wraps it up from my end.
Wow, this is really, really insightful. Really insightful. In Nigeria Palace, they will say the pressure is getting worse. I can now see why I did not get that scholarship when I applied for, because many of the things you I did not do, actually. Thank you so much for sharing. And one major takeaway from what you said is similar to a tweet I put out there some, I think a year or two ago, that know where you are going. Look for people who are already there and begin to search for what it took them to get to that place and start doing those things. You know, you might need to reach out for mentorship and things like that. And by God's grace, we have the Nursiscope Mentorship Academy. We are really passionate about helping people. I remember when I did not get that scholarship that time, that is one of the things that actually motivated us at the Fellowship of Christian Nurses to start INR, the Institute of Nursing Research. We actually didn't want nurses, young nurses who are coming up, to have this experience we had then, right? And myself and Dr. Adesui, we went all out, you know, to get these opportunities out for people. And I'm so glad that people like Esther, Rafiat, and Mercy, they have been able to benefit some of the things that we did not get at that time. And you are next in line. Okay, so let me move to Mercy. Mercy, you got some very interesting PhD opportunities in the US. Can you walk us through some of the challenges that you experienced while you are preparing those? We've had Rafia's point of view, how she prepared for the position she got, scholarships she got. So how did you prepare for your own? What are the challenges you experience? What are the challenges that people who are currently in the scheme of things now should anticipate, and how can they navigate them? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And what I can see from what Rafiat said is that applying for scholarships, the principles that guide it is the same thing, irrespective of the type of scholarship you're applying for. The principle that guide it is very, very the same. So I'm going to be saying some things that Rafiat has also said, which is very similar to what I also experienced. So the first thing is mindset. For me, I already settled it in my mind because at the time my spouse was already here, and I just knew that I wanted to do research. I did not want to do bedside nursing. I just wanted research, and I just knew that, okay, this is the right time for me to do it. So I had my mindset fixed on the ball that this is what I want to do. And the way scholarships in the US is you have to apply a year to when you are to resume.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is August, which is a perfect timing for those people who intend to apply against next year, because from September, the application is going to be open for so many schools for you to apply. And once it gets open, you're already seeing the deadline as well, staring right in your face.
Yeah.
So what I did was that I knew I wanted to apply to the United States, and I wanted nursing. So I had a list of the several schools that I qualified for. So I had like an Excel spreadsheet. I had the list of the schools, and these schools, I had to go through their requirements one after the other. There were some that had the requirements that I did not qualify for at the time. For example, some would say, oh, at the time of your application, you need to already have your NCLEX. Some would say you already have to have a publication that you had the first author. And I know I did not have that. So I just streamlined my search. I tick off some, then I kept some. So once I had that, then the next thing I did was that I invested so much in how to make my application to stand out, because I know that there are so many people who are also applying for this same opportunity, and your application just have to stand out for you to be considered. So I went to YouTube. I love YouTube so much because so many people put out information that could have been heavily charged, right? If you were to seek those services of those people. So I invested so much in YouTube. I watched, okay, if I want to submit my statement of purpose, what has to be there? My recommendation, what has to be there? my academic CV. How do they want to see it? Because CVs are different from country to country.
Yeah.
So you have to really know what exactly the country you are applying into. You need to know how they arrange their CV, what has to be there. And I also spoke to lots of people who are here, and I started early. It's very, very important to start early because the overall process can be so overwhelming.
You can say that again.
It can be very overwhelming. So I know I had sleepless nights for about 2 months straight. And what was I doing? I was just searching. I was always on my phone. Sometimes I have serious headache because I'm looking at the screen so much and I'm watching videos, speaking with people who have done it before, trying to make sure that I left no stone unturned. And I am also going to use this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Akingbade, for being a very resourceful help for me at the time, because when I started, I was almost clueless that, okay, so where do I want to start from? And you really came in handy to give me that mentorship, and you were able to guide me on the things I have to do. So one major part of the application that people I've spoken with usually find so difficult is the part of recommendation. Because there are some schools that require you to have about 5 recommenders. And for people who, maybe while you are in school, you've not built a close relationship with your lecturers, it's going to be very difficult, because at the time, it's like, okay, I'm now getting close to you because I need you to submit a recommendation letter for me. So, but luckily for me, so if you are still in school, it's very important that you have a very good relationship with your supervisor. That's the first thing. With your supervisor, and also with some other lecturers that you think that, okay, if I ask this person for a recommendation letter 2 months from now, 3 months from now, or even 2 years from now, the person would be willing to write a recommendation letter for me. So fortunately for me, my course advisor and my supervisor, I did not have a good relationship with her because she did not mentor me well. So, but fortunately for me, I took my undergraduate project to also somebody in the school. I didn't take it outside. I just took it to somebody that I knew that, okay, this person also knows about research, and the things that my supervisor did not see, he would be able to see and pick them out. So he stood in for me as my undergraduate project supervisor, and also my course advisor, and also you, and about 2 other people. So I had, because I was going to be applying to so many schools, I think about 10 schools at the time, I did not want one recommender to be the one submitting to all those schools. So it's very important that you give your recommenders enough time. Enough time, because you don't want them to also feel pressured. Because on the application, there is what they call priority deadline, and there is also the actual deadline. So if you are meaning to get a scholarship, you don't target the other deadline. You want to target the priority deadline, because the scholarship opportunities will only be available to those people who apply at the priority deadline. And when you are also giving your recommenders a deadline date, you don't want to give them the priority deadline dates. You want to give them about even a month. For me, I started my application so early. So I gave my recommenders enough time for them to put in the letters, because if all your documents, let's say your statement of purpose, your academic CV, your research publications, if you have your CGPA, everything is already on point, and then because you don't have a control over your recommenders, and they are unable to put in the recommendation letter at the time, then all the work that you have done is a waste. And for this one, you really don't have a control over it. So you have to give them enough time. So I gave all my recommenders enough time. I put in my application very early, and I gave my application materials to lots of people to review for me, and they gave in their constructive criticism. I wrote my statement of purpose countless times. countless times, because you give it to someone else and the person will be like, okay, I think you need to put it this way, put it that way. So you need to give yourself enough time to be able to put in the best, because if you are pressured, you won't put in the best. That's just the truth.
Wow.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Mercy. This is really, really, really insightful. You have walked us through some important things we need to take note of when preparing for application and making sure things are set. I'd like to go to Rafiat now. You mentioned something, Mercy, that is really profound about statement of purpose and things like that. What do you think, Rafiat, that people want to maybe put a very winning statement of purpose? What are the things they should pay very close attention to?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Akingbade. So that's a very big question. And I think that when it comes to statements of purpose, before writing any statement of purpose at all, it is very important to know what the theme of the scholarship is about, or what the theme of the program is about. So when I was writing my statement of purpose for the schools that I applied for in my Commonwealth Shared Scholarship and all the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship essays, the way I had written them is different from how I had written my Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship Statement of Purpose. And this is because it has to fit into the purpose of the scholarship. So I'm speaking here from the point of view of UK scholarships in general, because I feel like those are the ones that I'm more familiar with. So I'm going to give an instance. For instance, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship focuses more on leadership. And it also focuses more on, general developmental leadership and how you actually want to improve your country.
Okay.
And Chevening Scholarship, for instance, focuses more on community engagement, leadership. What have you done? Perhaps you did some community engagement stuff and you are a leader in your field or something. Chevening likes that. For Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship, they like industrial experience. They don't care if you have been a community leader before. What they want is, what experience in the field of public health have you had formally in your workplace? So you have to have some work experience before you apply for that. It doesn't have to be formal. So I had all of these things in place, and that actually helped me to craft my statement of purpose for each. So what it means is, what I'm saying in general is, understand first the theme of that scholarship. Every UK scholarship, or at least I can speak about the UK, has their own theme. So take that in mind first. Secondly was, read the adverts, or go through the website of the scholarship and read it extensively. I can say that again, read it extensively. For the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, I read extensively. I read other people's views about Commonwealth Shared Scholarship as well. I read other people's statement of purpose, so that I would know exactly how to craft mine. Also, for the Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship, I went through all of the websites. I basically understood how the scholarship works. So I'm not making a mistake of what exactly I have to put into my SOP. Number 3 is, have a big picture in which all of your SOPs would match. And this is what I mean. As a person, I have been fortunate to also read other people's SOP. I've had people who send their SOPs, and a common mistake that I see people make is, majority of their experiences are disjointed. So what I mean is, in my SOP, for instance, my Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship SOP started with, I am a public health nurse.
Okay.
That's who I am. And then I started with what I'm currently doing, and this is why I want to apply for the scholarship. Full stop. Then my next paragraph now highlighted, Shebi, I said I'm doing something. This is exactly what I'm doing. This is what I want to achieve. And this is how the scholarship and the course would help me achieve what I want to achieve. So a lot of time I see people write statement of purpose with different experiences, or have had experience in mental health, I've had experience in maternal and child health, I've had experience in cancer and oncology. Those experiences are good. I feel like as young people, we tend to put our hands into different things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to writing SOPs, your SOPs need to be integrated and they need to make a large sense. So if you are writing, if your theme or your experience is based on maternal and child health or infectious diseases, whatever you want to write should fit into the clear picture. So for me, when I was writing my SOP, I had written that SOP based on the fact that I am actually working to reduce inequalities among vulnerable populations. That is for my Erasmus scholarship. And I actually wrote that because I had tangible work experience regarding that, because the scholarship focuses more on industrial experience. So before then, I had already worked as a research nurse with a multinational organization with focus on reducing HIV vulnerability. So that vulnerability speaks into health inequality. So all of my SOPs and everything that I had written, the theme of my SOP for that scholarship was reducing inequalities, health inequalities among vulnerable populations. So I was able to impute my activities with the work I had done reducing HIV vulnerability among women and girls in Kwara State. I focused mainly on that. And I was able to say that this is my overall goal. This is what I want to learn from the program. This is what my learning from the program would add to my current knowledge. And this is how my current knowledge, or what I'm going to add to my current knowledge, will help me to achieve my overall game, my overall goal, sorry. Now that's for the Erasmus scholarship. For the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, that actually focuses more on leadership. So when I was crafting all of my essays for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, majority of what I was writing was on developmental space and how I was able to actually use my leadership. So then I wrote more about my international exposure, how I was able to get on a panel discussion with the Egyptian Minister of Health and the WHO Director for Health Workforce, how I was able to go to conferences, how I was able to influence my community, because I also got a grant in when I was serving to do some community work. So majority of what I was saying in the scholarship was related to that, because that is the goal, that is the theme of that scholarship. So those two SOPs, though quite similar, was not the same. So it is very essential. You could be the same person, but even if you have different experiences, I think the first thing first is to understand how this scholarship works. Because when I got into the program, and I was also fortunate to speak with the professor that is actually handling the admission process of the Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship. And one of the things that she told me was, we actually sieve our students, and we actually know the people that actually knows about the program first. So the course is track based, so it's a double masters. You have to choose two schools. And if you have missed it from the outset, if you don't understand how it works, you won't even get to the interview stage at all. So it is very essential to know exactly what you actually want to write and understand the things. And like I said, SOPs. So now to the writing, SOPs should follow a systematic process. majorly people talk about two ways. Is either you write from top down, like a funnel part, or you write from bottom up. So I'm going to explain those two. When I was applying for my Commonwealth Share Scholarship application, when I was doing that, I used the funnel shaped one. I mean top to bottom. So what that means is when you start writing, you first talk about your goal, like what you actually want to achieve. That's the first thing. Or you first talk about a developmental problem that you have seen that you want to address. So that's a big picture. Then you now start fitting in. Then it now comes from what experiences do I need? Then it now comes to how does the particular program fit into, or how does the particular program will help you get what you need to solve that developmental problem. Then you now move to the smaller part of what you are currently doing to actually solve that problem. So that's a tunnel thing from top to bottom. But from my Europe Public application, I used the funnel shaped down. So I'm starting from the bottom to the big picture. So I started from what I'm currently doing. I'm a public health nurse. I'm working to reduce health inequalities among vulnerable populations. This is what I'm doing. So how does the course program? I have identified this so and so, this so and so course, this so and so school that I want to do, and this is what I intend to learn from your program. Then I'll now go to the bottom, the final part of how what I'm going to learn in your program, how it will help me to achieve the broader goal that I want to do with my life. So I think that should be, or from my own experience, that is how I have written majority of all of the SOPs that I've written, and has worked personally for me. So yes, I think that first of all, understand the theme. Secondly, know what you are doing. Thirdly, your SOPs should be very, very systematic. And fourthly, majority of people make the mistake of having a disjointed theme. So if you do not understand the general theme that you want to write, take time. Look at the big picture. How has all of my experiences, how do they match into a particular picture that I can paint, a scenario that I can write on, that will fit the theme of this particular project or this particular scholarship or this particular program. So that has worked for me, and I hope it works for other people as well. So yeah.
This is really, really, really insightful. Rafiat, as you are speaking, I know somebody in Nigeria will be thinking, Ogunwale, why is this thing this difficult like this?
Yeah. Well, it's actually not difficult. Like I said, this thing, initially I also struggled with it, but later on it is always very easy to have things written down. So it could even be when you want to sleep, or maybe when you're in the bedroom, and that small thought just happen. You write it down. Like, so when you write things down, it makes things easier. And like I said, this scholarships honestly could be nerve-wracking. It could put a lot of pressure, and it is always good to be systematic. So that's why I keep talking about be systematic about your thing. Know what you want to do. Have a structure. What does this program want? How do I want to do it? What particular structure do I want to follow for my SOPs? And how do I want to write it? Then start filling it as a form. I think that actually helped me a lot. So I had a skeleton. I prepared a skeleton, and then I started filling that skeleton till it all made sense. Yeah, because I actually understand a lot of people. Scholarship it's a lot, but it's also, I mean, people get it. People get multiple awards. People get multiple offers, and I feel like all these things is actually very achievable. It just requires some level of, knowing what you want to do and having a plan towards how you actually want to get it done. So I feel like, yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, Esther is going to be giving us more insight into what are the common mistakes that we should avoid when we are applying for the scholarship opportunities. I know there are some people also looking out for postdoctoral opportunities here. I'm going to be sharing some tips too when we come back. If you want to maybe grab a coffee, you want to take water, you are free to go. But while you do that, try and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, like and follow our page, LinkedIn. We are on all social media platforms, TikTok, X, and all. Many of the things that they mentioned, opportunities, we're going to be sharing them right on our platforms. We also have a WhatsApp channel whereby we have been posting opportunities, and from today we are also going to intensify efforts in reaching out, giving you a lot of opportunities and tips that you need to get ready for graduate school. So we're having maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute break. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. This is Nursiscope Webinar 2.0. Nursiscope, where nursing meets innovation. It's an honor to have you join us on this webinar, and we've been having very insightful tips. You know, I wish I had access to these tips when I was just about leaving undergraduate school, or maybe when I was in 200 level, year 2 or year 3. Blessed are your eyes for seeing these things and hearing these things. Thank you so much, Nurse Arowolo, for sharing this. That's our official Nursiscope WhatsApp channel. Many of the tips you need are going to be shared here. So please join us. Right. So let's move to the next question. Going to Esther. We have like 30 more minutes to wrap up this webinar. And please, if you have questions on the chat box, please feel free to put them on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. We will sure take your questions. Esther, what are the common mistakes that applicants for these opportunities usually make and they should try to avoid? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question. And I'm going to say this. Rafiat and Messi already talked extensively about this. I'm just going to reiterate what they've said and at the same time add one or two to it. Okay. And I think the first thing is starting late. Because when you start applications very late, you tend to make a lot of mistakes, rush things. Your essays might not be able to have a comprehensive essay. Yeah. So I've been in both shoes where I started my application early and the ones that you start few weeks to deadline. And I can tell you that most times the success rate of the ones that you started early are higher than the ones that you just try to rush things together. And when we're talking about starting early, you have to put your documents in place. Rafia said something about getting your international passport, because I have seen people apply for opportunities without international passport. So when they got it, they were like, okay, there are even some opportunities that you won't be able to apply for because they ask for your passport number. Yeah. That's the first thing. And I think the other thing again is your reference. And I'm going to say this, your reference, CV, personal statement, see everything like part of the application. For me, when I'm applying for something, my personal statement is there. I use the STAR approach. Let me just add the STAR approach to what Rafia said, the funnel shape approach. Then when we talk about STAR approach, you're talking about situation, task, action. Then, I talk about, this is the situation. Maybe this is what is happening at the community level, or this is what I'm doing at the moment. Then you talk about action. This is what I've done in this position. Then situation, task, action. Then you talk about the other one. And one thing I do again in my personal statement is I mention the skills I've been able to acquire from that role, and the one I've used why on the role as well. So that is one thing about personal statement. I just want to add the extensive explanation that Rafiat already said. And aside this, your recommendation letter as well. So when it comes to recommendation letter, Messi said something about having a good relationship with your supervisor and maybe one other lecturer in your department. You don't have to talk to them often, just check up on them and say, oh, hope you're fine, ma. Or maybe while you're in school, you pop into their office, you greet them, you talk about what you're doing, just for them to know you. Because, okay, so this is it. I use my supervisor while I was in school. Luckily, he was the dean of my department. And I used this other lecturer, when I introduced myself to her, she was like, oh, I know you are the one that did one community project on so where you were in undergraduate, where you were in your undergraduate days. And I said, yes, ma'am. So that is like when I was doing something, they knew you were doing something. Yeah. Then there's this particular time I had an issue. I was applying for this scholarship. I think it was one scholarship in Oxford. And I needed I needed a referee to recommend me, to give me a recommendation letter. Then I walk up to this particular lecturer. Yeah, she knew I was part of the students and all, but our recommendation letter was so poor that even when I knew after submitting this, I'm not going to get this scholarship. The first time, at least for Oxford, I got to interview level. There was just like a network-ish. I wasn't able to get the program. The second time they didn't call me at all because I knew. When I told my friend, they were like, Esther, just forget about it. Look for something else. Because she wrote it there. She's a nurse and she has to serve clinical in Nigeria. I was like, you have to wait. I went to her house. I was like, Mom, please. She's like, no, I have to put it there that you're a nurse. You cannot go into public health. You cannot do it. You understand what I'm saying? So I think you should be able to identify the right people for you. I can't forget that experience because it really affected me. So that is just by the way. So when it comes to recommendation letter, apart from the essay you're putting in there, make sure you have people on ground that you can always reach out to. For me, I can always reach out to Dr. Akingbade because thank God everybody is talking about Dr. Akingbade. So if you are here and you've not done Nursiscope, you are listening, you're missing a whole lot. I won't even lie to you because Dr. Akingbade is always there for everybody. And I'm happy that he's really doing this for everybody to enjoy through Nursiscope because he's going to support you, he's going to review your essay, he's going to make sure you're in good hands, he's going to make sure that things are in place before we send the recommendation letter. Because when your recommender is saying something negative about you, so what else do you want those that want to take you into their programs to see about you? They're not going to take you even if you have a solid essay. Then another thing is for some people, you have to write proof of English examination. That's IIS or OET. If you start early, then you're able to put all those things in place. Not like you already, okay, so if you want to apply for schools in the US, there's some programs that requires you to like she said, masters. There's some programs that require you to have GRE. So now imagine applying and then, or you plan to apply this year, but you've not done your GRE, you've not done IELTS or AET or TOEFL or something. Then when it's time, you're just caught in between the fact that, oh, I don't have all the requirements. So if you start early, maybe earlier in the year, you can always put all those documents or all those tests into place. Then another thing is, I've already said something about personal statement. You don't want to write a generic personal statement. Even this the ages of ChatGPT, where people just say, I want to apply for Commonwealth share, give me something. It's not going to fly, it's not going to work, because it's going to be so generic in the sense that it's not going to personalize whatsoever. Some people say, oh, when I upload my CV and everything, it's still not going to work because I don't know how best to put it. You just have to, even if you're using enhanced technology and every other thing, you still have to review things and make it come, like align it to your goals, who you are, the things you've done. AI cannot know all the things that you've done. So you have to put it down to that, put it in a star approach format, use funnel down, just like Rafiat already said, or bottom up, depending on the approach you want to use. So I think those are the things you have to do early, and try as much as possible not to write generic personal statements. Those are what people do that actually set them, like, it doesn't set them apart. It disqualifies them from the whole process. And another thing I'm going to talk about is, when people talk about personal statements, for some people, especially those that graduated with probably first class or something, and she said something about different scholarships have different rules and theme. So you have to understand what you're going for. If you're going for Chevney, you don't want to start talking. Yeah, you can talk about your grades, but you have to talk about your leadership experience, community engagement, and every other thing like that. Even networking. How are you able to network? How have you been able to leverage your networking to do one or two in your community or to achieve a particular goal? Then when you talk about Commonwealth shared, you talk about, yeah, you can talk about academic excellence together with your solid personal statement. Then Commonwealth shared also sometimes like publications. Like when you have like one or two research publications, that's still like academic excellence. So you have to know what you like, that particular scholarship you want to apply for. And okay, so let me bring it down to nurses. When you're applying for scholarships, don't just focus on your nursing experience alone. Focus on your lesson experience, link into a particular developmental challenges or problem, and tell them how you've been able to, or yeah, you should have been able to do something about it. Professor said something about, when she was talking about the I think the funnel shape at the lower side, then you talk about what you're doing to address that bigger picture or whatsoever you want to go into. So you should be doing something. That is it. So you should be able to align all this together and not just grades and not just saying nothing. Let me set an example. So I joined a team recently, and one of them was just discussing with me that before your interview, they already selected one person. Because I think the person's employment was being threatened, because I got the mail, oh, sorry, you have a job, but there's this person being threatened and we just have to place space for them. Can you just wait for the next batch? She said, she was only one they selected, but during the interview, she has a good personal statement. She's a nurse, it's a nursing research role. So during the interview, they said it's a research role, obviously. For her to have been called, it means the SOP is at least a little bit okay. But when they got to the interview level, she started talking everything about word. She wasn't saying anything about research. It was just word, this, word, that. Yeah, it's good to talk about the word, you understand. But this particular role is research role. So you have to be able to link your word experiences to probably a research problem or gap that you've been able to identify and doing something about. So that is about knowing the context of the scholarship or of whatsoever you're applying for. So I'm going to say something about I've already said something about reference, recommendation letter and every other thing. Then you should be able to learn how to follow instructions. I won't lie to you. But if I say something about when you want to apply for scholarship, people don't follow instructions. And people use general SOP or personal statement for the same thing. Learn how to follow instructions. If this scholarship says you want leadership, let it be leadership you're talking about. Don't say, if I give them a little bit of this, maybe it will interest them. And when you're trying to give them a little bit of this, it's definitely going to make your essay look disjointed. You have to stay on track. Okay, so let me explain. I used to apply for scholarship, but there was this particular time I was able to read one of my friends, scholarship essays. And I kept thinking that this guy said this thing in the beginning. Why is he saying it again? Then in the end, I got to realize that it's just a story. The whole lesson is a story. You just have to keep connecting and keep talking about what exactly you want to do, like the penultimate goal, why you're applying for this scholarship, what you intend to do in the future, and every other thing like that. And I think when you want to apply for scholarship as well, you should know what you want to do in the next 5 years. You should know what you want to do in the long run. I can't forget this because this is why I knew this is why I did not get the scholarship in the first place. You know, I was having the interview, it was all smooth because I have mentors that already told me what to do. But there was this question, and even the lecturer would say, "Oh, this is awesome, you're doing great." Like, when then I asked the question, I said, then that was 2020. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I knew where I wanted, but there wasn't this clarity, and I wasn't able to really talk about it in a convincing way. And I knew that was it. I think when I was able to say, "Oh, this is what I want, this is what I plan to do in the next 5 years," I know. So if you apply for scholarship, don't just apply for applying sake. This scholarship, by the time I'm done with this scholarship, what do I want to do with it? It's just like PhD. No, these days I'll be asking myself, okay, if I want to go for PhD, what after the PhD, what do I want? Is it like I just want to have this PhD or apply because for applying to, so I can tell people I apply for PhD or stuff like that? No, you should be able to know what you want to do, and these are the things that really help you in your essay. And another mistake is unclear career goals and unclear research goals. I've already said that initially. If you know where you want to be in the next 5 years, if you know what you want to do with your life, then you clarity. Thank God I said clarity in the initial aspect of this question. It will help you a lot. Like if you don't know what you want to do, because I asked people, okay, so I was leaving my current role to another role. Then people kept asking me that, "Oh, how did you know you want to go into this?" I said, "I knew this is what I wanted. This one is just like a stepping stone. This is even not where I'm going to. This is just like a transitioning phase." And they will say, "I want to leave too." Okay, where do you want to go? I don't know. Oh, sorry, I can't help you because if you don't know where you want to go, how do we come together to get to where you want to go? That means there's no direction. So if you're applying for all these opportunities, you have to have a career goal, a clear career goal or goals, yeah, and research goals as well. This is the area of research I want to go into. Oh, for me, I'm interested in infectious disease. For you, you're interested in non-communicable disease or something, or maternal and child as nurses and all. And you don't have to be into the public health space as a nurse. You know, I said something, you don't have to be into the public health space for you to make global impact. You can be a nurse, go for your master's, go for additional courses, and you still make global impact from that community level, even from the bedside. You know, everybody's running away from bedside, but I think things can be changed from the bedside as an advocate. You know, you have research, and there's something we call implementation science. I'm not going to go into that. Whereby research, that's like the common ground for research and practice. You understand what I'm saying? So as a nurse, you can still have a PhD and every other thing and still work at the bedside. So don't let us all run from the bedside. So that is like another thing to say. And I'm going to say a little bit of CV. So, like I said initially, your personal statement, your recommendation letter. If you see my recommendation letter, it's not about, "Oh, Esther is so. Sometimes I ask you can ask those lecturers, "Can I write it for you?" Then you can just read through and see if you're okay with it, because they're not going to write what you want, like what you want to put in that personal statement. They're not going to write it because even if they know you, it's just going to be generic. They have this like a common template they use for everybody. So what I do is that I reach out to them, "Sir, please, I have this drafted already. Can you just go through it? If there's anything you're not cool with, you can just take it off." Well, people like Dr. Akinokun will help you edit it very well to what you want. Like they're not going to take anything off. They're just going to edit and make sure that everything is in alignment. So sometimes when you see my recommendation letter, it always looks like an application on its own. It's not going to be Esther was a student. It's going to be Esther used to do this. She has published over 10 or something publication in this so journal. Lecturers will not remember that now. They don't even know what you're doing. So sometimes it's advisable for you to write it out. Then that's why you have to have a network or relationship with them so you can easily approach them and tell them what you want. And when it comes to your CV as well, I've seen people's CV, and I just think even if I'm the one recruiting, I'm not going to take you. People just write, "I'm a nurse." Sorry, I'm just going to give an example. "I'm a nurse. I work with so. I do vital signs. I give medication." I don't understand. For my own CV, I use star approach. I still use the same star approach. Sometimes I don't write too much points in my CV. I might write just like 4 points, but it's going to be like an essay itself. It's not going to be 2 lines. It can be like 3, 4, 5 lines, but it's going to be solid. So I think we should start using that. And also, if we want to talk about your school, for instance, I'm going to put in I graduated from Lautech under education. There's this different column under education. I write Lautech. Under Lautech, if I'm applying for a public health related stuff, I'll talk about the fact that I did public health nursing. I'm going to write out all my modules. So you know that okay, I have like a background in this. Under the old modules, I'm going to write there my thesis topic, how it relates to what I want to do, how I got distinction in research. I'm going to write it there. These academic awards, I'm going to put it under Lautech. That's Lautech. Now I move to maybe Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. I'm going to write all my course modules, research, programmatic intervention, or whatsoever it is. I'm going to put it under education. So when you're writing your CV, I think you should just, maybe you can start with CV. You know, there was, okay, maybe a life-changing experience for me was checking my friends have good networks. I have friends that can send their applications, their CV, anything to me, because they know that in this going, you have to go together.
Wow.
So I have good network of people. My friend shared his CV with me when I was in school. Was it when I just left school? And I was like, it was like 12 pages. I was like, what am I writing? So I saw the way he wrote everything, the conferences he has attended, the how he got those scholarship, the link to everything. If you see my CV, even by the time I sat down and drafted down CV back then, it was close to like 8, 9, 10 pages. I knew, oh, you would think you've not done much, but until you sit down and put everything together, put evidences and all. So those are the things we ignore when we apply for applications. And some people just focus on personal statement. It's not going to work. And I think I'm not going to take our time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow. Those
are the things we have to, look out for. Thank
you. This is really insightful, Esther. Thank you so much for sharing all these useful points. One part that stood out for me is what you mentioned regarding career goals. At the Nursiscope Mentorship Academy, one of the things we help nurses do is, and healthcare professionals, is to envisage where they are going. I always ask, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? When I'm having an initial consultation with clients, and then after that, we now start helping people see where they are going in the next 5 to 10 years and start working towards that. And one of the mistakes that we also made when we were in school is that we didn't see anybody to tell us that you need to have a research focus. If you look at my career trajectory now, the research I did in my undergraduate is different from what I did in my master's, what I did in my PhD. Everything just is disjointed because we didn't see any guidance regarding all that. And that's why we are really passionate about giving back to healthcare professionals, nurses, to help them, design something that in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be very proud of what they have done. Thank you so much, Esther, for highlighting. Now I'm coming to Mercy, I'm really interested in the fact that you did a visa interview. I've not done one before. My PhD in Hong Kong, I didn't have to do a visa interview. I know this time, some nurses, healthcare professionals might find themselves, going for a visa interview. Are there some things that you did that made you get in and made you successful in getting the interview, getting the position and getting the visa? And maybe did you also sit for an interview, maybe with some of the professors? Okay, I remember I sat I sat for an interview during my PhD application. Some professors in Hong Kong were there. I was in Nigeria, and then they interviewed me. I said a lot of things, and I got in. So are there some things that you should focus on when preparing for an interview, maybe with the professors in the school, at the school, or maybe at the embassy? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that very important question, because the interview process is also part of the bigger picture that we've been talking about. So I'm going to start from the last question where you spoke about interviews with professors, right? So not all schools will require you to have interviews, but some would require you to have interviews. And for the whole application package, they have points. So it's like they are grading everything, of which the interview for the schools that would require you to be interviewed is also a part of it. So one of the things I did when I was preparing for the schools that called me for interview is that, number one is I went to the profile of my professor, the person I would be working under. So I went to our website, I went through our research interest, what she has been doing, and I focused more on her recent publications. So it's very important that if you are saying that your research interest aligns with a faculty member, you want to have a good grasp of what that person is actually doing. So I went through a recent publication. I read the publication severally, and I had questions to ask her. So I prepared so well that I knew what she did, and I was like, okay, so what do you think about this? How were you able to achieve this? Just so you give them a picture that you are really interested in what this person has done and what she's currently doing, and that you are a perfect match to what she's doing. So that is very important. Then another thing is that your confidence level, you have to build your confidence level. There are so many people that they can write, but when they are being called to speak, they can't speak. So if you are somebody that you submitted a very good application package, and now it's time for you to defend what you have submitted, and you are found wanting, then you've messed everything up. So it's important that we start building our talking skills. If you are somebody that you are not so good at communicating in the public, you want to start that, because it's going to give you off if you are not good at it. So I also did that. And one other thing I did was I practiced a lot. I knew what I was going to say. And one tool that is very important is ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT that I'm preparing for this interview. What are the likely questions I would be asked? It will give you the list of questions. Then you have your answers. Ensure that you prepare answers to each of those questions. Then another important thing is that you also want to go and watch YouTube videos. I'm a very big fan of YouTube videos. And there is someone's YouTube channel that I'm going to recommend. Her name is Ann On Demand.
Okay.
Ann On Demand. So she gives you everything you need to know about the application. You are preparing for an interview with your professor. What do you have to know? How should you prepare? It is always there. So it's a different thing to say, I'm going for an interview. You have to be very, very articulate. If I'm being asked this question, how do I want to answer? And like I said earlier, which I'm going to be emphasizing on, is your ability to ask questions. So aside you asking your professor question, if you're on the committee is comprised of also the dean of the faculty, you also want to ask questions for the dean of the faculty that, okay, on the website, I saw the school does this, but I'm confused. What do you think about this? Or I'm interested in knowing more about this particular aspect of the vision of the school. How have you been achieving this vision of the school that you stated on the website? You just have to give them a very good impression that you know the school you are coming into, you know the professor you want to work with. That's very important. So I think that has captured the last question of if you are preparing for an interview with a school. So then the first question you asked about, if you are going for a visa interview. And it's going to be overlapping with some of the things I've also said. The first thing is your confidence. Because the US embassy, they are psychologists, and they know if you are lying. They know if somebody prepared your application for you, because there are so many agents now that would prepare application for participants. And it's so unfortunate that after preparing it, you are going for the interview completely clueless of what has been done. I've had cases of people that those people who applied for them said something different, and they are going there to say something different. So that is a very big disaster. And I usually tell people that if I can do it, anybody can do it. You don't have to pay anybody to apply for you. And especially if you are coming for an opportunity that you will be the one in the program. If you are applying for several scholarships, master's, graduate school, PhD, or all these special scholarships, you will be the one there. So if you cannot craft your application package yourself, how do you want to sail through the rigor of what you are exactly coming for? So I tell people, first thing is, don't give anybody money to apply for you. You can do it yourself.
Definitely.
And doing it yourself empowers you.
Yeah.
It gives you all the knowledge that you need to know, and it also places you on a very good pedestal to talk to somebody, to also mentor somebody about it.
Yeah.
So for the US Embassy, there is something they call DS-160.
Okay.
So that DS-160 is like an online application package where they will ask you lots of questions that you have to fill into. And filling it into it, you have to be very, 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 very careful of the things you put in there. And now the process is now so unique that even your social media platforms are very, very important when you're applying for the visa. So they are going to ask you that, okay, or what are your social media handles, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, everything. And before you even appear, they've scanned everything.
Yes.
So if you are somebody that you don't have a good social media handle where you just jam-packed everything, like your social life is there, everything is there, then they'll be wondering that, okay, is it the same person? But if you put a LinkedIn, just like we've said earlier, that your LinkedIn and your documentation is very, very important. You put your LinkedIn, and you must have worked on your LinkedIn so perfectly, because I see the LinkedIn as the software copy of your CV. Yeah. So everything you've said that you've achieved is all. You also want them to be able to have a link to go and check everything in there. And one other thing for visa application is that you have to be able to look into the eyes of the officials, and which is also the confidence level, right? You have to tell them that I did this and I'm qualified to be given this visa. And another important thing is funding.
Okay.
Because so many people that don't get the visa is because of the issue of funding, because it's very expensive to sponsor yourself in the US. Like, it's crazy. So they will look at it from the angle that, how would you survive if you are not being funded? Right? So anybody who has funding can confidently say, I deserve this. And you don't want to give them the impression that you got it on a platter of gold.
Yeah.
You want to give them the impression that you worked for it, you are qualified for it, and you get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for highlighting this. At this stage, I want us to have questions from participants. Nasarolo, if you can just help us maybe project some of the questions that are coming in from our participants. We will like to take them as we attempt to draw the curtains on the program. Another important area, excuse me, that the speakers have mentioned that I also like to allude to as far as postdoc is concerned. I know some people are here, they are trying to get postdoctoral opportunities. Just follow many of the things that they have said for postgraduates. It's also very applicable for postdoc. But for the postdoctoral angle, I'd like you to know that if you want to do a postdoc, you should have decided that you are going into that before when you are starting your PhD. Right. And I always tell people, you don't prepare for the next level when you are close to the next level. You prepare for the next level from your current level. So when I got to Hong Kong for my PhD, for example, I had already known that I want to come to the West for my postdoc. By that time, I had around 4 publications when I was entering Hong Kong. I'm currently writing a book detailing my experience. It's going to be out very soon for my birthday coming up shortly, November 7. I'm going to be launching that book that takes you through my experience, my journey from RN to becoming a global nurse consultant. So 40, I had 4 before I got to Hong Kong, and when I was leaving, I had over 40 publications. Right, I wanted a CV that when anybody anywhere in the world sees, they can resonate to it. I don't just want a CV that is local. I don't just want to publish my research in journals that are just by the side, just local journals or journals that are even offline. I remember when I was doing my master's at University of Ibadan, my mentor, Professor Priska Adejumo, she gave us an assignment. I always refer to this: type your name on Google, anything that comes out, print it out, 10 marks. Right, and we all did. I got 1.5/10. The highest mark was 2. right? And then we saw a lot of Facebook posts and things like that. And she told us when they put your name on Google, they should be able to see your project, your, your the things you have achieved, your presentations, conference presentations. If you have gotten awards, they want to see it there. The projects you are doing. What else? They want to see your publications, right? When they type your name on Google. And I also give the assignment to every participant. Yeah, type your name on Google and let's see what is going to come out. And that person you are aiming to be like, type his or her name on Google and see what comes out, compare it to yours, and then decide on what you want to do. And another thing is that before you finish your PhD, some people do PhDs in a country whereby it's visa tied. For example, I did mine in Hong Kong and I had to leave Hong Kong. My visa was going to expire June after my final defense, right? And then what next? Am I going to go back to Nigeria? Am I going to stay in Hong Kong? Am I going to go to the West? So you need to plan very well so that you won't be stuck when you complete your PhD program. To complete the PhD program is a lot on its own. You have a lot of deadlines, a lot of goals to achieve, and then it's actually very stressful. As an international student, you now need to also factor in family. What are we doing next, and things like that. So because of that, it's meant late nights. Collaborating widely, aggressively, working on publications, and making sure that my CV looks like where I am going to. And then again, I talked about network. Dr. Yetunde Tola sent the Alberta Innovate Postdoctoral Fellowship I got to me, and then I saw it, and then I looked for a professor. Yes, you need to also know how to write cold emails. Because of time, I won't speak about that. I reached out to Dr. Mana Kleb, an associate professor at the Faculty of Nursing, University of Alberta. Right. And then she was, she brought me on board on a meeting. We discussed many of the tips that they mentioned. I had already put them in place, and I just gave the points that she wanted. And here we are today. I got the funding. So maybe the last, if there are no questions from our audience, maybe the last thing I'd like our participants. Okay. So Taiwa Ajayi. Okay. More on US. What about Canada? Is there funding? Yes. No. So you are in the spirit. So that's the next question. So I'd like our speakers to share what are some of the opportunities that you have seen out there that you think people can apply for. Again, I mentioned on our Nursiscope WhatsApp channel, we are going to be sharing many of these opportunities, but there are some that we can speak to. Let me start from Rafiat. Do you know some opportunities, maybe some websites that our participants can stay glued to that can help them to get some of these opportunities? Over to you, Rafiat.
Thank you so much. Personally, I would say quite a lot. First of all, there are generic websites, generic places that I just randomly go to on social media. I follow Opportunities for Africa. I also follow Opportunity Desk. They send a lot of information about scholarships. That's one. Two, like I said, I use LinkedIn a lot. I don't really post much on LinkedIn because I'm introverted, but I tend to use social media to my own benefit. So what I do is, yeah, you might see quite a lot, but if you're looking for scholarships, there's a way you can target your LinkedIn notifications to reflect scholarship opportunities wherever you are going to. So you can always manage your social media. You can always do it in such a way that you can see what you decide, what you want to see. So there are ways in which you can put up your settings, put up your notifications for scholarships. That's another tip. Another thing that I do is, and I feel like we've not really talked about this, there are internal funding for schools. When I was applying to the UK, I'm also going to write it around to the UK. When I was applying to the UK, I was really familiar about Tribune, Commonwealth, and all of that. Those are the ones that I applied for. I applied for Commonwealth and the popular ones. However, when I got to Sheffield, I realized that there are internal scholarship. There's the Sheffield Africa Scholarship, which I even didn't know of. Unfortunately, the first Nigerian I met in Sheffield was a beneficiary of the scholarship. There are other scholarships as well. There's Harlan and Esther Ferguson scholarship. There are so many scholarships that are not so popular, because I realized that a lot of people actually apply for those popular ones. And honestly, I think that the best thing now, I mean, aside from, you know, knowing the general ones, the popular ones, if you also want to know the OJ, the OT, know the schools that you want to apply for, US, Canada, UK. Go to the university website, go to the scholarship and funding page. You'd see a whole lot of information. These schools, they have internal scholarships that are not so popular. And it is my theory that because they are not so popular, they might be less competitive compared to, you know, the popular ones. Then another thing that I would also want to talk about is if there's a way you can connect with students that have been on a particular school that you're targeting. If you're going to the US or Canada, if you're targeting the US, Canada, UK, go on social media. I would rally around back to LinkedIn because that's like the best place you can definitely meet people. I have a list of schools. So during my whole mentorship, when I was trying to apply for schools, my mentor told me to have a list of the schools that I want to apply to. Have that as well. If you're looking for US, Canada, UK, Australia, wherever, start looking for schools that you can apply to and stay glued on their websites. When you stay glued on those websites, go back on LinkedIn, type the name of that school, filter it under people. So when you filter people, that filter will bring in people that are attached, people that are associated to that school. It is through that tip that you can see people that are there. Then you can even see people that have probably gotten a particular scholarship in that school and everything. It's a very big OT, because I feel like the focus now shouldn't even be on the popular scholarship, because it is overcrowded. It is this pressure is intense. The competition is a whole lot. So I think that going through the extra work of looking out for the less popular opportunities might actually work in this space. So those are also the tips that I would also say. So generally, from the most popular thing, I follow Opportunity Desk, Opportunity Online, Opportunity for Africa. There are some other, you know, WhatsApp pages as well. Sometimes I just find myself in those WhatsApp pages. And then some of them share these opportunities, which is nice. Then LinkedIn, look out for the school, check the school website for internal funding. Very, very essential. I didn't know so much about internal till I actually got to the UK for my studies, and then I realized that there are so many internal fundings. If you're also from Nigeria, there are also some. I saw someone who got the NDDC or whenever scholarship here to study at the University of Coventry. Then for the top popular schools, if you're also looking for UK, the EU, there's also that scholarship for Germany. There are also some scholarships in Sweden as well, which are really nice. You go to top schools like Karolinska Institute, so many things. And majority of those information are things that I actually got on LinkedIn. Honestly, when people follow the right people, because those are the tips. Follow the right people. When you follow the right people, these people, when they repost, when they like, you actually get to see those notifications on your own page as well, which is very, very cool. So I feel like those are the tips that I personally do have regarding how to see opportunities, funding opportunities, and scholarships. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Esther, before you go, we are rounding off now. Do you have maybe a last minute word that you want to maybe share with our participants that they should pay attention to as they go? And if you have any other link, any other website, I think opportunity that they can take note of. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So I'm just going to add to what Rafiat just said. Apart from the general scholarships, she already talked about internal scholarships, and I think there's some organizations as well, like 90 Day Foundation. There was this time they put out a scholarship for nurses from low and middle income countries, so you can keep checking. Then you can use common platforms like Opportunity Desk. You can use, then another thing you can use is findamasters.com. That you don't even have to stress yourself. Just write nursing or whatsoever you want to do. Then it will bring all the schools to show you if it is funded or not, stuff like that. So I think that would be helpful as well. And I'm going to say something. A lot of things are going to happen around you, especially if you have good network. But just make sure that this journey is your own personal journey.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be jealous of whatsoever people around you are doing. For me, when I see people thrive in my cycle or around me, I see it as a motivation to do more. So I think you should start channeling your energy positively when you see people win around you. Don't distance yourself from them. Approach them and ask questions. This is like my I'm going to put this just like my tips for you, what I do exactly. Then apart from that, just know that this is a personal journey. And it doesn't have to look like that of your friend or those you are even looking up to, maybe those that are your mentors and all. The most important thing is you have a goal, you have a penultimate goal, and you're working towards it. And just make sure you're working, you're truly working. And you're not just showing as if you're working while you're not working on that, like behind the scene. And I'm going to say something. When it comes to going to social media, don't just make mouth. Try to learn transferable skills, communication skills, program management skills, research skills. If you're in nursing, learn all those core skills, ECG, transfusion. Make sure you are learning and not just talking. Because there will be a stage whereby you see a platform and you will not be able to really say much. Because all these things boils down to we having a platform. And when you get that platform, if you're not really doing it behind the scene, you might not be able to thrive beyond that. And nobody will give you another platform. You might not be able to get on that platform if you don't make use of the first one that you get. Right. So I'm just going to encourage us to keep doing, be motivated, but don't get lost in the process. Try to balance. There's no, like we don't have a balanced life, but then just try to look for a common ground between whatsoever you're doing, your social life, your personal life, academics, spiritual life. Sorry, I'm just going to say this. If you're a Christian, hold on to God. There's G in the race. That's grace. And all the scholarship and everything boils down to the place of God.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing. It's so nice having you. Thank you for getting us equipped with all these pieces of information. They are very helpful. I also like to say that in Canada there are opportunities too. I'm going to be sharing some of them. Someone is asking Joseph that can someone apply for PhD nursing as a RN only? I would advise you first do your degree. Then after your degree, then you can go from BNSC to in Nigeria to PhD. So Eze Ijoma is asking what's the difference between master's programs and fellowship programs. I'm not sure if Rafiat wants to speak to that briefly. What's the difference between master's programs and fellowship programs?
Yeah, so there are some very differences. So while master's program actually is through a like a directed academic learning, whereby it could be taught program, it could be a research program, but you're at the end of the day, you're actually getting a postgraduate training that gives you a certification. Fellowships, although also is a training program, but it's not typically directed towards like a structured academic program where you have to go through like a university or a school to get trained. So for fellowships, these are usually done with organizations. In some could also be in partnership with universities or stuff like that, but it is usually streamlined towards maybe a particular set of training for a particular set of years that is strictly monitored by a host organization. Yeah. So this is quite different from master's program, whereby it's a postgraduate education and it leads to a postgraduate training. But for fellowship, it does not necessarily have to lead to like a postgraduate training or a particular certification. Fellowships could just be an organization empowering people, one. It could also be, I've also seen, it also depends on what particular definition of fellowships, because for people in the medical space, like for physicians and medical doctors, they also have their own type of fellowship, which is quite different. Their own is more of like a particular training towards a particular specialization, which is different. That one is core clinical. But I think that's like a major difference between them. So fellowships are usually hosted by an organization. You have to go through some certain processes and you have to deliver to the organization before you can be conferred as a fellow of that particular training or a fellow of that organization. But for a master's program, it's an academic postgraduate training that leads to a specific postgraduate academic or research qualification. So those are the two major differences. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. We have a few minutes to go. Thank you so much. Mercy, do you want to answer the question on the screen? Can a nurse who doesn't have much experience in the clinical area attempt to go into academics? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have clinical experience to go into academics. In fact, you just have to have the passion to go into academics. You don't have to have the clinical experience. Although sometimes when you have the clinical experience, you can leverage on that to say you were able to find this research gap that you want to look into. But if you don't have any clinical experience, you can also leverage on the fact that what has been done in research in this particular area. So if you are somebody that you are into any other field, there is nothing you are currently doing that you cannot channel into what you want to do.
Yeah.
There is nothing. It just depends on you having a perfect understanding of what is required of you. Then you channel it down. Whether you are a school health nurse, whether you are working in the university at the moment, whether you are doing you are working with different organizations in the industry, there is nothing you are doing that you cannot stream down to what you want to currently do. So it doesn't matter if you are not currently in the academics, you can go for it.
Yeah, that's really, really true. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, some of my colleagues, some of them didn't even practice at all. They just went from BNSC to masters to PhD straight. And then they graduate after that. They now went maybe to marry and do some other things they want to do.
Yeah. So I also have someone in my class that she just came in from undergrad and PhD straight.
Yeah. I know in Nigeria, we tend to really highlight that, because I remember when I did my master's at UI, they wanted 2 years experience. I'm not sure if it's still like that, 2 years experience working in the clinicals or any other place before you are able to enter the master's program. So some of these things are actually localized too. Yeah, we won't be able to take much questions again. I can see Taiwan Jai's question. Nosarolo, you can just allow the questions run across. We are noting them, and we are going to get back to people who have asked them maybe on our social media platforms. You need to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on subscribe to our YouTube channel. Many of this information that you need are going to be answered. You need to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have a WhatsApp channel that you can connect to. Many of these questions are going to be answered. We are noting them all. Let's keep the questions coming, and we are going to address all. For some of the opportunities that are also available in Canada for postdoc, we have the Alberta Innovates Postdoctoral Fellowship, which I'm currently on. We have the CIHR Fellowships. We have the Vania Canada Graduate Scholarship for PhD. We have Kilam Trust Awards, for example, at the UFA. We have the WICRI, Women and Children's Health Research Institute Postdoctoral Fellowship. We have what we call Tri-Council agencies in Canada, CIHR, SHEC, and another one. United States, there are quite a number of opportunities. We also have the Sigma Theta Tau International Research Grants, where you can get opportunities. At the UK, we've mentioned a lot of them: Commonwealth, Welcome, Early Career Awards, Chevening, NIHR, Postdoctoral Fellowship, and a host of others. We are going to be sharing many of these. I'd like to have the last maybe word from Rafiat. What's the last word you want to give to our participants that they should take note of in their postgraduate journey? Thank you. Rafiat, okay.
Thank you. So I think my last word is going to be directed to Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes. Okay, so I think that my last word is going to be directed towards a younger me before I started this particular program. I would say that it might look like a very big, hefty journey, but it is very achievable and it is doable.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, you're capable of doing anything. You don't need to even have your first class, because one of the things that people do, especially with nursing training and degree, is that we tend to push down on ourselves regarding opportunities. We tend to feel like we are not enough, that we haven't had a lot of training. But I think that over the years and over the time, I've realized that nursing training is broad and it is all encompassing.
Yeah.
It only depends on how well you streamline your experiences and how well you personalize those experiences. So I would say definitely go for it. Have a faith and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Take that leap of faith, because sometimes one of my mentors used to say that if you do not do something, you have 0% chance of getting in. If you do it, you have 50% chance of doing it. 50% in the sense of either you get in or you do not. And even that 50% of you not getting it means that you're actually failing forward. So you have more experience, you have more exposure, you have more knowledge to take up more challenges as it goes. Thirdly is, please approach people. People are people. We are all humans, no matter what that person is. And I think that I have interacted with quite a lot of high achievers here to understand that a lot of people are as confused. A lot of people are still trying to find their way. That person that you feel like is top, is high there, is human, is also doing things, is also confused. So ask questions. Nobody is too big for you. No opportunity is beyond you. So yes, have a leap of faith, believe in yourself, and do what you have to do to make sure that you have the best opportunity and the best chance for yourself. At the end of the day, it is you against the world. So have a very best version of yourself.
Beautiful.
That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Rafia. That is really profound, and that's going to be ringing in the minds of our participants as they go. Mercy, do you have one final word you want to share before we go?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity once again. And one of the things I'm going to say is that for those still in undergrad program, I want you to invest so much in extracurricular activity. It is when I got to this place that I realized that your academics is just a little part of the whole you. So if your organization, if your university have different organizations, be active. That's what they want to see in your statement of purpose. They know that you went to school, fine. They know that you read, but what else? They will ask you, what else? So invest so much in extracurricular activity. Come out of your shell, be vocal, and have documentations of the things that you are doing. Also, keep your desires red hot. I'm saying keep your desires red hot because you'll be discouraged. At some point, you will feel very low. At some point, the opportunities you think you will get, you might not get it. You just have to keep your desires red hot and keep going. Keep going. And also, small steps matter. The small steps of you trying to take Coursera courses. There are free Coursera courses out there that I encourage people to take advantage of. A lot of them have different certifications. You don't know which would be necessary. So take hold of free opportunities. And lastly is you upgrade yourself. If there are opportunities if there are things that you can pay for and you can afford it, that you know would prepare you for the opportunity, pay for it. If there are things that you can do that would prepare you, just do it. And by the time the opportunity comes, you will see that you are really prepared to fit into that opportunity. And lastly, believe in yourself. You can't afford not to believe in yourself. You can do it. If everybody can do it, then you are not an exception. You can do it.
Wow, thank you so much, Mercy, for sharing those useful nuggets. My own final word will be, one word that came to me while I was doing my PhD: believe you can. If you don't, you will not start. If you start without believing you can, you will soon stop. Again, believe you can. If you don't, you will not start. If you start without believing you can, you will soon stop. Believe in yourself, believe in God, and you are going to get there. As we wrap up, I want to say a big thank you to everyone. I have a couple of announcements to make. I've talked about our Instagram page. Please follow us. Facebook followers, and join our WhatsApp channel, subscribe to our YouTube platform. We have a lot of things to share with you as we go on this journey together. Also, we have the Nursiscope Mentorship Academy, our structured program designed to guide nurses and allied health professionals through career clarity, research development, postgraduate opportunities, leadership skills, personal branding, expert consulting on research, on digital health innovation. Nursiscope Webinar 1.0 was targeted towards digital health innovation, which is an area I'm so passionate about and which is my research interest. If today's session has inspired you, the Mentorship Academy is your next step to take action with tailored guidance and a supportive community. And finally, we'd love to hear from you. Share your experience from today's webinar on social media using the hashtag #MyNursiscopeTakeaway. It could be your biggest lesson learned, a quote that inspired you, or a moment that made you think differently. Let's keep the conversation going and inspire others to join us next time. I want to appreciate the Nursiscope team. Yes, I'm the CEO and the founder, but I can't do all these things alone. I want to appreciate our Chief Operating Officer, my very beloved wife, Ruth. Thank you so much, Damilola, for all you do. I'm so happy and proud of you. Thanks so much for the support, for making things work. I want to also specially appreciate my personal assistant, Akingbade Damilola. I can't want a better personal assistant, actually. You are killing the role back to back like I had usually. So thank you so much for all the support. Many of the things that everybody is saying, they will think it's coming from me, but it's actually coming from you. You are the brain behind many of the things that we are pushing out there. Thank you so much for your commitment. We also have a website which is being displayed on the screen. Nurse Arolo, thank you so much for all you do. He's a nurse and is the one that has hosted us on this beautiful platform on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Thank you so much for this. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for all you do. And it's interesting to note that Nurse Arolo, Nurse Rafiat, Esther, we were all together at Lautech, and we are still making things happen even after many years of leaving school. Yes, it's also at the UK. Thank you so much, Oladipo Tosin, one of our volunteers, for everything you do. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for all your support. Temitope Adewoyi, you are doing a very, very great job, which I'm very proud of. She moderated the Nursiscope Webinar 1.0. I also want to appreciate our designer. He designed the graphics, Samuel Adeleke. Thanks so much for all you do. He's a nurse and he also designs very beautiful graphics, as you can attest to. And to you, our participants, thank you so much for making this happen. You have shared your weekend with us, and which we are very happy for. And I would like you to share this information. We have learned a lot. I know you have people in your network that need this information. Share the YouTube platform with them, our Facebook profile, and everywhere on social media. Let people know what we do. And until next time, when we are going to be joining you for Nursiscope Webinar 3.0, thank you so much for being part of this. Don't forget, Nursiscope is where nursing meets innovation. Bye. Yeah.